Welcome to our Avatar Realms Collide character tier list. If you're trying to figure out which characters are the strongest and which ones you should avoid, you're in the right place. This game brings together the best of Avatar, The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, letting you master all four elements with a massive roster of characters. In this tier list, we'll rank every character from legendary powerhouses to the weaker rare and below characters, helping you build the best possible team. Some epic characters also pack a serious punch, so we'll break down which ones truly stand out. If you want more Avatar Realms Collide content, make sure to subscribe. We're always keeping up with updates, tier lists, and guides to help you dominate the game. Don't forget to like the video and comment your favorite character below. Now, let's jump into the rankings. C tier, Avatar Realms Collide characters. C-tier characters are the weakest in Avatar Realms Collide. They struggle in both PvP and PvE due to low damage, poor scaling, or ineffective abilities. While they may be decent early on, you should replace them as soon as you obtain better characters. These picks lack the versatility and power needed to compete with stronger fighters. Meelo, rare airbender. Meelo is an airbender with decent speed, but that's about the only thing he has going for him. His attacks deal very little damage, and he lacks any real combo potential or stun abilities. In PvP, skilled opponents will dodge his moves easily, and in PvE, his low damage output makes battles take far longer than they should. Compared to other airbenders, Meelo simply doesn't offer anything useful. Strengths: quick movement speed, which can help with dodging. Weaknesses: weak abilities, no strong combos, and low overall damage. Yu, rare waterbender. Yu is a waterbender known for her support abilities, but unfortunately, they aren't effective enough to justify using her. Her healing abilities are weak, and her offensive skills are lacking, meaning she can neither sustain a team properly nor deal enough damage to be a threat. Compared to other waterbenders, she doesn't offer much outside of being a filler character until you find someone better. Strengths: some healing potential. Weaknesses: low damage, weak healing, and completely outclassed by other waterbenders. K, rare earthbender. Despite being an earthbender, K lacks durability and offensive power. Typically, earthbenders excel at strong defenses and high-impact attacks, but K falls short on both. His abilities feel slow and clunky, making it difficult to land hits in PvP. Even in PvE, he struggles to keep up with stronger characters due to his low damage output. If you want to use an earthbender, there are far better options. Strengths: none worth mentioning. Weaknesses: weak attacks, poor defense, and ineffective abilities in both PvP and PvE. Piandao, rare firebender. Piandao is one of the most disappointing firebenders in the game. Firebenders are typically known for their aggressive playstyle and high damage moves, but Piandao fails in both areas. His attacks have slow animations, making him extremely easy to dodge in PvP. His damage is below average, and he doesn't have the mobility or utility to make up for it. Against other firebenders, he gets completely overshadowed. Strengths: none. Weaknesses: slow attacks, low damage, and outclassed by every other firebender. Final thoughts. All of these C-tier characters are barely usable, and you should replace them as soon as possible. They don't provide any unique strengths and are completely outclassed by better rare, epic, and legendary characters. If you're stuck using one of them, focus on upgrading your team quickly because they won't carry you far in Avatar Realms Collide. B-tier, Avatar Realms Collide characters. B-tier characters in Avatar Realms Collide are fairly decent and can perform well in certain situations. However, they lack the power, versatility, or consistency of higher-tier characters. While they are a step above C-tier, they may struggle against tougher opponents and are best replaced once you obtain stronger epic or legendary characters. Borte, epic airbender. Borte is a solid but unremarkable airbender. She has good mobility and decent combo potential, making her a step up from weaker airbenders like Meelo. However, her damage output is not the best, and she lacks the utility that some other airbenders provide. In PvP, she can be tricky to hit due to her movement, but against stronger characters, she will struggle to secure wins. Strengths: good mobility, decent combos. Weaknesses: low damage compared to top-tier airbenders, lacks strong utility. Suki, epic earthbender. Suki is an above-average earthbender who offers balanced offensive and defensive capabilities. She has good crowd control abilities, making her useful in PvE and against certain PvP opponents. However, she lacks the raw damage output of higher-tier characters, meaning fights tend to last longer than they should. She's a great option early on, but you'll want to replace her once you get stronger earthbenders. Strengths: balanced defense and offense, good crowd control. Weaknesses: lacks high burst damage, gets outperformed by stronger earthbenders. Katara, epic waterbender. Katara is a solid support character who can heal allies and deal moderate damage. Her healing abilities make her one of the few true support options in the game, but her offensive capabilities are underwhelming. She can work well in certain team compositions, but in PvP, she often gets overwhelmed by stronger, more aggressive characters. Strengths: great healing abilities, useful in team-based fights. Weaknesses: low damage, struggles in solo fights, requires a strong team to be effective. Zuko, epic firebender. Zuko is a decent firebender with good single-target damage and solid speed. He's fairly versatile, with some moves that allow for good combo setups. However, his damage output is inconsistent, and his defenses are weak, making him easy to punish in PvP. He's a good choice for early to mid-game, but he gets outshined by stronger firebenders in the A and S tiers. Strengths: fast attacks, decent combos, solid damage output. Weaknesses: low defense, inconsistent performance, outclassed by stronger firebenders. Kuvira, epic earthbender. Kuvira is an offensive-focused earthbender with powerful melee attacks. She does well against slow-moving opponents, and her moves allow her to control space effectively. However, she lacks mobility, and her defensive options are weaker than other earthbenders. If an opponent can avoid her abilities, she becomes vulnerable to counterattacks. A-tier, Avatar Realms Collide characters. A-tier characters in Avatar Realms Collide are strong and reliable picks across all elements. These characters have solid damage, mobility, and abilities that make them viable for both PvE and PvP. While they may not be as dominant as S-tier characters, they can hold their own in most fights and remain useful even in late-game scenarios. Tenzin, epic airbender. Tenzin is a highly skilled airbender with a well-rounded kit that balances mobility, offense, and defense. Unlike lower-tier airbenders, Tenzin's abilities allow him to evade attacks while dealing consistent damage. His movement speed is among the best in the game, making him extremely difficult to pin down in PvP. Strengths: excellent mobility, balanced offense and defense, hard to catch in PvP. Weaknesses: lower raw damage than some top-tier characters, requires good movement control. Toph, epic earthbender. Toph is an exceptional earthbender who specializes in strong defensive abilities and area control. She can stun enemies and create powerful earth-based attacks that make it difficult for opponents to approach her. In PvP, she dominates close-range fights, but against highly mobile opponents, she may struggle to land her attacks. Strengths: high durability, strong stuns, great crowd control. Weaknesses: struggles against fast-moving opponents, some abilities have long wind-ups. Teo, epic earthbender. Teo is a unique earthbender with a focus on supporting allies and controlling the battlefield. While he doesn't deal massive damage, his utility makes him invaluable in team fights. His defensive capabilities are strong, allowing him to block attacks and create opportunities for teammates. Strengths: good team utility, strong defense, great at controlling fights. Weaknesses: lacks strong offensive power, best used in team settings rather than solo fights. Sokka, epic waterbender. Sokka is a versatile fighter with good ranged attacks and decent melee combat. He's a waterbender with a unique skill set that allows him to chain attacks together efficiently, making him useful in both PvE and PvP. However, he doesn't excel in any one area, meaning he can be outperformed by more specialized characters. Strengths: well-balanced, solid ranged attacks, good combo potential. Weaknesses: lacks specialization, doesn't have overwhelming power compared to S-tier characters. Azula, legendary firebender. Azula is a top-tier firebender with exceptional damage, speed, and precision. Unlike most firebenders, she relies on accuracy and high burst damage rather than raw AoE. Her legendary status means she is naturally stronger than most epic-tier characters, though she does require good execution to make the most out of her abilities. Strengths: high single-target damage, quick and deadly attacks, excellent mobility. Weaknesses: requires precise aim, less AoE than some firebenders. Asami Sato, epic firebender. Asami Sato is a solid firebender who specializes in combining fire-based attacks with strategic movement. She isn't as powerful as Azula, but her abilities make her a threat in both close and mid-range combat. She works especially well in PvE, but in PvP, she can be outmatched by more aggressive characters. Strengths: well-rounded, decent AoE and single-target damage, good mobility. Weaknesses: not as dominant in PvP, outclassed by top-tier firebenders. Lin Beifong, epic earthbender. Lin Beifong is a highly defensive earthbender with strong crowd control and durability. She can lock down opponents, preventing them from escaping or counterattacking. Her abilities are great for team fights, but in solo encounters, she relies heavily on landing her stuns and defensive counters. Strengths: strong crowd control, tanky, good for team fights. Weaknesses: requires precise timing, struggles in fast-paced PvP encounters. Final thoughts. A-tier characters are strong and effective picks that can compete in both PvP and PvE. While not quite at the level of S-tier characters, they are still valuable assets to any team. If you don't have access to legendary characters, these should be your go-to choices. S-tier, Avatar Realms Collide characters. S-tier characters are the strongest and most dominant in the game, capable of excelling in both PvP and PvE. They offer the best mix of power, utility, and survivability, making them the ideal choices for any team. If you manage to get one of these characters, prioritize upgrading them, as they will carry you through the toughest battles. Bumi, legendary airbender, a true offensive powerhouse, Bumi excels at burst damage and quick attacks, making him a nightmare for slower opponents. His high mobility allows him to control the battlefield effectively, striking when enemies least expect it. However, he requires skillful play to unleash his full potential. Aang, legendary airbender, the Avatar himself, Aang is one of the most versatile characters in the game. He has fast movement, strong crowd control, and high damage output, making him extremely difficult to counter. His ability to weave in and out of combat while dealing consistent damage makes him one of the most well-rounded characters available. Korra, legendary waterbender. Korra is a balanced fighter who shines in close-range combat. Her abilities allow her to switch between offense and defense seamlessly, making her adaptable in any situation. She can tank hits while dishing out strong melee attacks, making her a top-tier choice for players who prefer aggressive playstyles. Kyoshi, legendary earthbender. As a legendary warrior, Kyoshi is an absolute tank with incredible AoE abilities. She can withstand heavy attacks while dealing devastating blows to multiple enemies at once. Her crowd control and durability make her a top choice for longer fights, where she can outlast and overwhelm opponents. Uncle Iroh, legendary firebender, a true master of firebending. Iroh's attacks deal massive damage over time, making him one of the strongest DPS characters in the game. He also has great sustain, meaning he can stay in fights longer than most characters. His combination of raw power, resilience, and battlefield control makes him a must-have for any serious player. These S-tier characters are the best of the best, capable of dominating any matchup when used correctly. Whether you need high damage, mobility, durability, or versatility, this tier has it all. If you manage to get one of these legends, you'll have a major advantage in Avatar Realms Collide.